This is episode number 11, and it is Pay It Forward Friday. Today, we are lifting up Mo and Mo's Heroes.
Welcome to Men of Abundance, the podcast for those looking to level up their lives by hanging out with some of the greatest leaders and established professionals in our community, living a life of integrity, honor, and the abundance mentality. Prepare to pay it forward with your host, former Army medic turned lifestyle entrepreneur, Wally Carmichael.
Aloha, Men of Abundance. Today we are lifting up another great organization and another wonderful person. But before we do that, I want to ensure that you have the opportunity to be abundant in your life today. And all you have to do that is share this podcast with just 3 people. Of course, you know you can do that by going to menofabundance.com and click on any of the social media links and share directly from there. Or, of course, you can share directly from your phone or however it is that you're listening to this podcast. All right, let's get on with today's show. Today we have a wonderful conversation with Mo. Mo is currently active duty Air Force but getting ready to retire, and she is the founder of Mo's Heroes. Mo's Heroes is an organization that helps homeless veterans get back on their feet and much more. You can find Mo's Heroes at mosheroes.org. All right, Mo, welcome to the show.
Hey, Wally, thank you for having me. I am so excited.
Man, it's my pleasure. We were introduced. Who introduced us? Mark and Tori introduced us a couple years ago,
Tori,
right?
And I think
somebody else. Rick West.
Rick West, yes.
That's correct. That's right. It was like the same week. It was ironic, right? Because Mark and Tori called me and said, hey, you got to call Mo because she's got this Mo's Heroes thing going on, and it'll work perfectly with what you're doing out there in Hawaii. And then Rick, a coworker, said, dude, I got to hook you up with this with Mo because you were helping them out with their program, right? Or something. They gave you an award or something.
Yep, a suit drive. We were definitely working together. So I was like, okay, I got to meet Wally now because now 2 people, I got to find Wally.
Who is this Wally guy? Yeah, absolutely. So then, as I started this show and, Men of Abundance, one of the biggest things that we do, and my favorite thing to do is to lift people up and to talk about, people that are doing something in the community. And you're doing so much for so many people and so many veterans and just people in general. But before we get into that, I've already given kind of a brief bio of who you are. I talked a little bit about you and stuff like that, and of course I talked all good about you, but let me hear a little bit more about you. Let's get a little bit personal.
So I am, like I said, my real name is Shadonna McPhaul, and I'm originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I've been in the Air Force since I was 18 years old. I am getting ready to retire and move back to Fayetteville, North Carolina. I have a son, and I just love volunteering, and like you said, I just love helping people wherever I can. People just say I'm just a busybody because anytime I see somebody with the need, I always think that I'm like the Olivia Pope of the Air Force. I can fix it. So that's just pretty much me in a nutshell.
Well, Fayetteville. I did my 3 years at Fayetteville and the 82nd, and I was at SWCC for a little while. And now you're in New Mexico now, right?
Yes, I'm in Clovis, New Mexico, at Cannon Air Force Base.
Oh, that's beautiful in those parts. I like that. I like Santa Fe in that area. What else are you doing over there?
So I'm still doing Mo's Heroes. I'm working with the local community, and my focus here is really just to bring the morale up for the airmen here in the local area because we are kind of feel like we're in a remote because, the closest city is Lubbock is 2 hours away, Amarillo is 2 hours away, Albuquerque is 3 hours away. So it's just like, okay, there's things to do here, but for the average 21, 22-year-old that's really just ready to go out and have fun, it's kind of bad here for them. So I'm trying to bring everybody together and have fun.
Now, you started Mo's Heroes out here in Hawaii, is that right?
Absolutely. Back in 2013, I started Mo's Heroes. Because at first I was just volunteering, at Next Step Shelter, where It Takes a Village. And back in 2011, I remember First Lady Michelle Obama had came to a a Hiring Our Heroes job fair, and I just remember seeing like all the jobs and all the employers looking to hire veterans, and I had the initial thought was, hey, if we could just get veterans, if we could just clean them up and help them with their interview skills, give them some nice clothes, we can help them fill out these applications, and they could get a job, and maybe they wouldn't be homeless anymore. So, I had that idea in 2011. Then in 2013, I was just really just like, okay, let me do something with this. So, I was watching Joel Osteen one night, and, I just got out my laptop and just started Googling how to start a nonprofit. And I remember clearly making a Facebook post. And, if you post it on Facebook, it's true. Just, it's true, right? Or you got to do it. So I posted it on Facebook. Yep. And the next thing I knew, I had, it took a little while to get my 501c3 because that was around the time when the IRS had it shut down. And it was funny, too, because I actually sent the paperwork off on Veterans Day. Luckily, UPS was open. So I got the paperwork off, and that was in November. The following August, I was awarded my 501c3, so I was really ecstatic.
That is truly amazing that you did it that way, because I literally just had a conversation on Wednesday with another guest, Angus, and we were talking about that, about your desires and aspirations and your goals, and should you put them out there to the world or should you keep them to yourself? And obviously you put it out there to the world. You put it on Facebook, and that was what your accountability. What was your motivation for doing that?
Wally, I put everything on Facebook. But, like I said, when I was in Hawaii, I just had my son, and that was my main communications tool, too. Like I said, my family. Facebook was my lifeline, especially, being overseas when you really don't have your family with you. And I just put it on Facebook and said, hey, this is going to happen. And I just knew that it would I didn't know it would happen so fast. And no one expected it to happen so fast. I was like, okay, well, she said she was going to do it. And they thought, that I was going to do it, when I got out. The next thing I know, the next thing you knew, I had car magnets on the side of my car, flyers, and doing events. And it just really took off.
And how much support did you get from those around you while you were doing that? I mean, because you're still active duty Air Force, and you still had a full-time job, so you're wanting to get this thing going. And for all these people, how much support did you have?
I had an amazing amount of support, an abundance of support, if you'll say. I think I worked with every organization in Hawaii to get Most Heroes off the ground. Like I said, we did suit drives. We worked with the U.S. Vets, Catholic Charities, Next Step Shelter, everybody, because, Hawaii has, like, all 5 of the services. That's one of the states that has all 5 services. So Hawaii loves the veterans, so I really had a lot of support, with getting it off the ground. The Fleet Reserves, the Veterans Center, the Oahu Veterans Center, the West Oahu Veterans Center, the VA, everyone. It was amazing.
So let's talk about Most Heroes. What exactly is Most Heroes? Who are you supporting specifically, and what other events do you do?
So Most Heroes is a 501c3 organization that I started. Originally, it was to help homeless veterans, because as you know, in Hawaii, the homeless population is huge. And with me being from Fayetteville, North Carolina, I've been around veterans and homeless veterans my whole life. But as I evolved, I started working at the chapel on in Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam. And so, God just told me to expand it to all veterans, because what I find, too, is that there's such a stigma with being homeless. When veterans find themselves in that situation, they have a lot of pride, and they won't get the help, because they don't want anybody to think that, they don't want anybody to know that they're in the situation that they in, or if they're one check away from being homeless. So we still help homeless veterans, but now we help all veteran service members and their families, because I feel like everyone is struggling with something, and everyone could use that support before, it gets too bad, before they do become a homeless veteran. Because I feel like it's easier to save somebody from jumping than jumping in after them to try to save them.
Right. And how do you help them? What actions do you take?
So it's on a case-by-case basis. So if a client comes to me and say, hey, Mo, I'm having issues with this, that, we just figure out what it is they're having an issue with, whether it's a job, we help them with their resumes, whether it's clothes. Like I said, we do clothing drives. We've done makeovers. We've helped veterans get their driver's license. Before I left Hawaii, I bought a beater car. I shouldn't say a beater car, but I bought a car because a lot of times our veterans could get a job that had company cars, but if you didn't have a license, you couldn't, get that promotion. So we help veterans to get their driver's license so they could get a promotion. We've done Thanksgiving meals at the Oahu Veterans Center, where a lot of times, a lot of people don't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving, or I remember the first year we did it, we had a young couple that just PCS'd in a couple of days before Thanksgiving. They were still in Billiton. They didn't know anybody. They didn't have any groceries. So it's just the little things that I've seen that I would want somebody to do for me. Like I said, I'm active duty, and I see a lot of the gaps, and I just want to fill those gaps for people.
That's beautiful. And what I want to do now is, normally on the show, I ask my guest about their personal kick in the gut moment, either personal, entrepreneurial, and then kind of go into the good news story of that. But what I would like for you to do is share with us that, don't use any names or even locations or anything like that, but share with us that story of that family that you just had the opportunity to meet and was just at the lowest of lows, their just biggest kick in the gut moment. And then walk us through what Mo's Heroes was able to do for them to bring them out of that.
So it actually wasn't a family. It was a young man. I was at a stand-down event, and he wasn't even want to come to that event, but somebody had brought, he had got the job, and he needed the clothes, he needed his uniform. So I was able to help him get the clothes that he needed for his uniform, the shoes, the belt, and, on the bus, it would have took probably, 4 hours to get around Hawaii. You've been in Hawaii, you know how the bus and the traffic is. But I was able to take him to get his ID, to take care of all those errands that would have took maybe 2 days. It took us maybe half a day, and he was just so happy. And I think I brought back a little hope for him. And that's all I want to do is, let people know, hey, it's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen. And so that was one of my favorite stories, that I was actually able to, get this guy what he needed, get him on the right path and just restore a little hope.
And what an awesome feeling that is for you to be able to help somebody like that. I mean, I'm feeling it just sitting here listening to it, and how seeing the hope in in that guy's eyes, and getting, feeling like a man again. I mean, so do you normally do all this stuff by yourself, or do you have a team of people that help you with some of those moving parts?
When I first started, I was definitely by myself. I remember a guy was saying, Mo, you went to war without your soldiers. I'm like, hey, it was just a recon mission. But now, I have a team. We started out in Hawaii, but now we have teams in Kentucky, Virginia, South Carolina, here in New Mexico. So my goal is for us to have teams in all 50 states, because our veterans come from all 50 states. They serve in all 50 states, and they deserve to be served in all 50 states, because there are so many opportunities out there. So you don't have to be homeless in Hawaii. You can get a job in Texas, and I know that if you don't have anything, it's kind of hard to just pick up and move from Hawaii to Texas, or from New York to California. And that's one of the things that we try to help people do, too, is to get them to a location where, they can have a nice life for themselves.
I've spoken with homeless people out here. For instance, I used to work at the Honolulu Club, and one of the guys that goes through there, cleaning the facilities and stuff like that, he was homeless. Him and his family were homeless, and they came here from the mainland. And he said, if I was back home, I wouldn't have to be homeless. He came here for his wife and his family, or he came here for his wife and her family. Her family's here, but the ironic thing is her family's not taking care of them. They're homeless. And he said, if he was back on the mainland, he wouldn't have to be homeless, but here he has to because he just can't afford the housing here.
Yes, and I hear that I have a guy that I was helping in Japan. He got out of the Navy. He's staying with his girlfriend, and he's scared to come back to the States because he's fearing that he'll be a homeless veteran. And I heard, Wally, when I tell you, there's nothing you can tell me that will surprise me. There's nothing that I haven't heard. And I tell, a lot of times, too, is like when people get a divorce, you go from having two incomes to one. There are so many reasons why people, become homeless veterans. And I'm like, it's heartbreaking, but I'm like, okay, guys, there's help out there. Because I get calls from employers. I get so many calls and emails. So I'm at the point now where I'm just really just trying to piece everything together and just, like I said, to get people to realize help is available and to restore some hope. Because I find that a lot of our older generation veterans, they've had the doors shut in their faces so many times, and they just don't trust anybody anymore.
Yeah,
so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I just want to let everybody know that, hey, you can trust us. I've spent my whole adult life serving in the Air Force. I'm like, I don't have anything to gain from taking advantage of anybody. But that's one of the biggest challenges, is just to getting people to believe and just to know, hey, this is real. This is real. The help is real. The people that I talk to are real. The people who support me are real. Because, veterans really take care of veterans. And service members, we take care of service members. In the military, they teach us, the wingman concept, the battle buddies. So that's what, our generation does. So I just want to keep doing that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And there really are so many resources out there for veterans and people in general, but specifically for veterans. And so many of them just either don't know where to find it, they don't know it's out there, they don't know who to ask, or like you said, they don't want to ask. So do you refer veterans to other resources? How does that work?
So it depends on if we can handle it in-house, we will. But if we don't have the resources, we will refer them. And I have, like I said, I'm an information manager, knowledge operator in the Air Force. So it's always been my job to get the right people, the right information at the right time. So I always tell people I'm a professional beggar, too. If, because I don't want our veterans out there, panhandling, holding up signs. When there's, where you can ask people, hey, you ask these corporations, hey, this is what we're trying to do, will you help us? And more times than not, people will help. But like you said, people, they're prideful, and I can understand why. Because, the military teaches us to be self-sufficient and take care of it and figure it out. But, sometimes when you're at, your lowest point, you're not thinking straight. You don't even know where to start, like you said. So I just want to be that starting point.
That's correct. And the military also teaches us, amongst many other things, leadership and a lot of things that we just don't give ourselves credit for. But the military definitely teaches us how to use our available resources and use them to the best of our ability. And you're out there as a huge resource to veterans, and I just love it. I just loved it from day one when I first heard about it. So what can we do? What can Men of Abundance do to lift up Mo's heroes?
So one of the things that Men of Abundance can do is when you see a veteran in need, let them know about Mo's Heroes. Let them know that help is available. And just let them know that we are who we say we are, and we will help in any way that we can. And we also do a National Eat Wings Raise Funds event at Buffalo Wild Wings. They have been huge supporters of Mo's Heroes as well. So if you're out and you're eating, if you're at a Buffalo Wild Wings, if you could just go in there and say, hey, we support Mo's Heroes, Buffalo Wild Wings, they donate back to Mo's Heroes for us to raise money for our programs and to deliver these services. But the biggest thing is just letting people know, hey, if you're in trouble, just call Mo's Heroes. Like I said, we don't make promises, but we will get you some help.
Okay, and where do Men of Abundance find you? Where can they find out more information?
So we have www.mosheroes.org, MOSHEROES.org. We're on all of the social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. We have a YouTube page, Google Plus, and we have our 1-844-MOS Hero. That phone rings directly to me. I answer it, I take your information, and we just start working on that customized plan. We just figure out what our clients need, or what. We also have a lot of employers who reach out to us saying, "Hey, Mo, we need veterans. We want to hire these veterans." So I'm getting all the calls, and so I know that this problem can be fixed.
It really can, and I do know that there are. Last count that I checked, there were 4 states, Phoenix being one of them, because I'm from Phoenix. I think Virginia, that say that they have completely eradicated the homeless problem in those states, in Phoenix, Arizona, or in those cities actually, and I think in the state as well, other than those veterans who just choose not to use the program for whatever reason. Do you know anything about that?
I think, like I said, a lot of the veterans, they don't want to use the programs because a lot of it, they feel like they have to relive the story. If they have PTSD, if they have to go in there and tell, okay, what happened when they were downrange, or what happened, how they got into the situation that they're in. And a lot of people just aren't strong enough to relive that, or they don't want to relive it. But that's another thing that Most Heroes, that I want to be able to help people. Hey, if you need a chaperone, or if you don't feel comfortable, going to this place or going to that place, we'll go with you, or we'll get someone to go with you so you don't feel alone. Because, that's what the military really teaches us, to have each other's back. And I think when people get out of the military, they don't have that same camaraderie, or they don't feel that same sense of support. And I want to continue that for Most Heroes. Like I said, as I'm going through the transition, I see how hard it is. I've walked in the same combat boots as everyone else, so I get it. So I just want to be able to have, how they say, continue the care. So. Yeah,
so we'll get the word out, and as soon as this show posts, and it'll post, matter of fact, this show is going to post on Friday,
and that's my little brother's birthday. Happy birthday, Tez.
Absolutely, happy birthday. Yeah, so this show will post on the 22nd on Friday, and as soon as it does, I'm going to send you all the links for the social media so you can push it out that way. And right now, as of this morning, there's 4 people in Australia that are downloading the show, and several people I think 23 people in Belgium. So people worldwide are going to be able to get this information and find out more about Most Heroes, and then it'll just spread out from there, and we'll make sure we push it out. All of the information that you provided, I will have in the show notes of this show, and that will be at menofabundance.com/011. And people will be able to go there. So I know a lot of people listen to these podcasts while they're driving and whatnot, so you don't have to worry about writing everything down that Mo just mentioned. It'll all be in the show notes, and we'll put that out on our social media. So, Mo, do you have any last-minute things you want to tell Men of Abundance about Most Heroes? And then we're going to close it out here.
I just want to thank you again, and just let Men of Abundance know that if any of you are struggling with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you know anybody that's struggling with anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you want to partner with us, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, because we're all about community partnerships, because we realize we can't do it by ourselves. No organization can do it by themselves, because if they could, or if we could, there wouldn't be a need for another organization, and we wouldn't have any homeless veterans. So I just want to let everybody know, hey, we are here for our veterans, our service members, and our communities as a whole.
Perfect. And you've already given us how we can get in contact with you, so I really am happy to help out in any way that I can, and we're going to push this out, and we hope that it reaches all the right people.
I really thank you.
Awesome. All right, have a good day, Mo.
All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, Men of Abundance, that was a wonderful conversation, and this is just another way that we can be abundant in our lifestyle and in our daily activities. Make sure you go to the show notes at menofabundance.com/011. I put some more information in the show notes about Mo's Heroes and how you can help by simply going to places like Buffalo Wild Wings and having a meal. Also, if you want to get involved in the conversation, you can click on the link in the show notes to get over to our Facebook group and get involved in this conversation. If you know of anybody else like Mo who are doing wonderful things in the community, I want to talk with them. I want to get them on the show. Make sure they get my information. Send them the link to menofabundance.com. At the top of the page, it says Be a Podcast Guest. There's a link up there. Once they click on that link, it's going to take them to a page where they can fill out a form. That form comes directly to me, and then we can get into a conversation to see if they are right for the show. All right, that's all I have for you today, Men of Abundance. Make sure you go out, live your life of abundance, and don't forget to pay it forward. Have an awesome day.
That's all for today, Abundance Leaders. For more about our guests and the powerful information we shared with you today, be sure to sign up for our mailing list at menofabundance.com. We appreciate your time and look forward to hanging out with you on our next episode. So until then, be sure to pay it forward and live your life of abundance.